What's going on, Jerome's Cash Rules, everything around me cream. And even though all the focus this week is going to be on the NFL draft, the Vikings salary cap is still a little bit up in the air because we still got some room to definitely maneuver and muscle for rank, filling up on free agents on empty tank. Because even though the Vikings, they had some fun in free agency, bring in Zadarius Smith, Shondon Sullivan, a bunch of other guys who are going to help the Vikings hoist a dozen Jerome Bardys in the next 10 years. There's still cap space because hashtag the cap is a myth. So the Vikings, as of right meow, are 20th in the NFL with around 10.867 million in cap space. The Panthers are up at the top with around 31, which, you know, yeah, go ahead. Browns still have plenty of space as well. That's even without projecting getting rid of Baker Mayfield, even though if they cut him, his fifth-year option is fully guaranteed, so they'll just have to eat that. Texans still have a ton of space. The Dolphins as well, which is all very surprising since they made significant moves, especially the Dolphins picking up Tyreek Hill and that huge contract. That's right. But the Vikings have about, like we said, about 10.867 or whatever. And now the rookie class coming in is going to have to take up, you know, around $4 or $5 million in cap space, because remember, the top 51 is all that matters now until 53-man cuts. So that's how the salary cap is explained, because if you count it all 90, obviously a team is going to be over the cap. So the draft picks that come in, and say the Vikings stick and pick at 12, 46, and 77, then they will just take the spot of someone else on the top 51. So there's a displacement factor in there as well. And plus, since the Vikings don't have a fourth-round pick, I actually do think only 3 rookies would register on the top 51. So, you know, cap space for rookies is really a non-issue at this point. So the Vikings, they got some cash, and there is a 5th or 6th wave of free agency right after the draft, where some teams they're going to keep their powder dry, and there is some decent names still out there in free agency as we zoom in and enhance on the fly, because we are professional here. And teams will save some of their salary cap space, and they will be in contact with some of these players. Like Honey Badger, Tyrann Mathieu has reportedly been in contact with a number of teams, but they want to see what happens in the draft. It's like, hey, can we get one of the top tier safeties in this class? Can we get Hamilton? Can we get Petrie? Can we get Brisker? Can we get one of these other guys day 2 where, like, hey, we can have him on his rookie deal, younger player, as opposed to shelling out in free agency. But say you don't get some needs addressed in the draft, you can definitely fill in the cracks a little bit later on, and the Vikings do have some cap space. Now, ideally, you want to have a couple million in space because ish happens. There is some attrition during the season, and the guys that you put on IR and the guys that you bring up from the practice squad that or off the street, that does count against the cap. Like, that is a tangible cap hit. But the Vikings, they could still free up some more room. They could redo Dalvin's deal. They could restructure Brian O'Neill. So there is always going to be money there. And there are some intriguing names. So some of them are more sort of aged out. So Julio Jones, JPP, no. I mean, Dwayne Brown, no. Joe Hayden, not really. But Honey Badger is still interesting to me. Landon Collins is still interesting to me as well, if the Vikings don't get safety early in the draft. I love me some Cameron Bynum, but I think that using his cornerback assets and abilities would be really interesting for this defense. Trey Waynes is still chilling out there. Now, Trey Waynes, minimal deal? Like, say the Vikings don't hammer cornerback at the top of the draft. Maybe they pick up a corner like an Emerson, like a McCreary, etc. day 2, and then you bring in a veteran guy like Trey Waynes on a minimal deal. Why not? Why the hell not? Also, Trey Waynes had worked with Durante Jones his first time around here in Minnesota. Akeem Hicks is still hanging out there. J.C. Treader, of course. So all this talk about Treader having knee and ankle issues. So obviously he would have a physical first and then check him out. But it'd be weird if the NFLPA president isn't on the team, right? But maybe the Vikings don't check the box at center in the draft. Maybe they circle around to J.C. Treader, or potentially a guy like Matt Paradise, or Eric Flowers is still floating out there. There had been some minor connection between him and the Vikings. Will Fuller is still out there. Really intriguing. Kyle Fuller, lots of experience with Ed Donatel in Denver as well as Chicago. But also remember, they pick up Nick Hairston as opposed to Kyle Fuller, as opposed to anyone else. Linval Joseph's still out there chilling. Anthony Barr is still out there. That's really intriguing. Chris Harris is out there. Carl Nassib. No, not Melvin Gordon. Stupid Badger. See who else is there. Clown Shoes is still out there. He'll probably still get paid. Riley Reef. Hey, Riley Reef. Hey, bro, you want to play some guard? Bro. Jack Rabbit Jenkins is out there. Cole Beasley. Kawada House. The former linebacker for the Bears, who I always thought was pretty decent. Danny Trevathan, if you wanted more Ed Donatel connections there. So, I mean, there's going to Bryce Callahan. Hell, Manny Sanders. Manny Sanders is 35. That just made me feel super old because I was a big fan of Emmanuel Sanders back in the day when he was at SMU. So that just made me feel old. Kyle Rudolph is still out there. Maybe they don't address tight end too. So maybe they bring in a guy like Eric Ebron versus Kyle Rudolph. Tariq Cohen is out there. Wow. Kevin King, no. Xavier Rhodes, yeah. But it's just amazing, like how many solid players are just out there chilling in free agency. But a bunch of them will get picked up. Teams still have cap space to fill out those 90-man roosters. And it's a spot where the teams are going to have a lot of leverage now because a lot of the money is spent so they can get some of these veterans usually on one-year deals because the player doesn't want to tie themselves to a bad long-term contract. So, I mean, the players will come in, will have a one-year minimal deal, maybe even with nothing guaranteed, prove that they still have worth, and then hit free agency again next offseason. But that's it. Let's take a look at the Vikings' current cap situation. They have around just a little less than $11 million, but in actuality and effectiveness, probably around $7 and change. But let's know your thoughts on our thoughts on the Vikings salary cap in the comment section below. Subscribe for daily Vikings takes. Want to support the work? Put a little something in the Venmo. But until next time, Skull Production Value.